We are going to be looking at John Keith Perry, the attorney who is going to be representing Tadarrius Bean as he goes to trial for the, let's see, kidnapping, murder, misconduct, assault of Tyre Nichols. We're going to check into his website, look at some videos so that you can see him in action, and yeah.
Yeah.
Let me first turn off my phone. Oh, wow. I got bad news. Okay. Wow. All right. I need to turn off my phone so I can get back to that in a second. But yeah. Okay, let's go to the website first. I want you to take a look at that so we can see who John Keith Perry is. I kind of like that he goes by all three names there, especially when your first name is John. It helps to stand out. You can do something else with your name so that people remember you, especially if you're an attorney and you want people to be hiring you. Okay, we're going to go to Google. I've pulled up Tennessee Attorney John Keith Perry there. And let's go to the website to see if we can learn a little bit more about him. Okay, and of course, I don't pull out the right thing here. So so this is their website, perrygriffith.com. They are in Tennessee. They've got an about page. You can see they have, I guess, 5 staff personnel there. Their practice areas: criminal defense, family law, personal injury, real estate closing, civil rights litigation, estates, business, transaction law, notable cases. Okay, so we're going to come back to that, but let's go ahead and check into his bio here and see if we can learn a little bit more about him. He went to the University of Mississippi School of Law, finished in 1998. That's a few years before I finished. He's got some honors listed there. He went to the University of Tennessee for his BA. We see his bar admissions there. He's currently a partner. His practice areas: criminal defense, personal injury, civil rights litigation, and he's got some associations down here also. Now, let's go over to this notable cases to see what they've got on their website here. And then I'm going to go to a particular one that he handled. So let's see, something regarding the Castle Doctrine, some arbitration, confidential settlement. Yeah, okay, so I'm not really seeing a whole lot here that stick out to me. There's this one about a fatal stabbing, which is terrible. Yeah, okay, so we see some of those there. Huh. All right, let's go back because there are some other things that I want to talk about, if I can bring them back up. And one is some of the videos that we have down here. So let's take a look at those. He actually represented, I don't even think I opened these things up. Okay, that's good. He actually represented a man who was accused of killing a former NBA player. The gentleman ended up being found guilty, and I believe received a 16-year sentence on that. And there appears to be, there's some things here that you can see that are up here about him. He talks about the trial's outcome. But before that, let me tell you what he said about this case, about the Tyre Nichols case, and the statement that he made in regards to his client. I want to read what he says to you. This was a statement I got from NPR. It says, "You look at the involvement of each individual defendant, and in that particular case, he was doing his job, no more, no less," Perry said. "He never struck anybody. He never did anything other than his job." So it sounds like to me, at that point in time, he is already trying to say, don't stick Mr. Bean over here with all of the other defendants, some of whom may have been striking Mr. Nichols as he lay on the ground, because Mr. Bean, my client, didn't do that. So he sounds like he's already trying to distance his client from the other defendants. this part about no more, no less, I think that's where his argument falls apart on one of the counts, because remember, one of the counts has to do with misconduct. So interesting to see how that part plays out to it. So yeah, you might not be found guilty of murder. He might not be found guilty of assault, but there's still these other counts. I get it though. If he can have his client found not guilty on the worst of those, then he's probably going to consider that a win in his book. His client's being charged with second-degree murder, and that is the worst of the offenses. Okay, let's go back, because I want to go back and play for you part of one of these videos. And this one is actually going to be the one from the case, and it was part of his opening statement here. And let me see if I can bring that up. It may be a little tough here. So I was hearing on Law and Crime Network, their YouTube channel, and I want to talk a little bit about his opening statement, or give you a little bit of time to see his opening statement here. And I'm going to pull it up so that you can see him there in the courtroom in action. His client has been charged with, I think, working with someone who his client may have been involved with at the time, and I think she may have entered into a plea agreement. Not entirely sure, but let's take a moment to just sort of listen to him talk about this, and you can get a feel for what his presence is going to be like when he is in the courtroom trying to defend Tadarrius Bean on these charges.
To sit up and come up with a story, and as you're talking to the detectives, to say, they told me this. Who told you this? Billy? What did Billy tell you? He told me that he and Shara put together a plot to drive his car to a road so that he could pull over on the side of the road, and so that Lorenzen can pull over inside the van with Shara, and that Shara would take the gun, and that she would act like she was Billy, and then Billy could jump out and shoot him.
So that gives you sort of an idea of the kind of person you can expect to see in the courtroom there. So he's very at ease, very comfortable with standing in front of a jury. Now, here's the thing. Sometimes some attorneys can be a little standoffish, a little cold. They don't feel like they're personable. They were bringing a whole lot of charisma. And I don't mean charisma as in trying to get over on you or anything like that, but in terms of just being authentic and how they are presenting things and how they are talking to people. People want to feel like they're relatable to the attorney, even though, you know, they don't have the same legal education and this person may have been practicing law for many years. They still want to feel like this is just the person down the street. That's the image that you want to project. Someone who's knowledgeable about the information you're bringing forward, that you're credible, and that you have a good plan of what your case is going to be as you outline it in day one. So this was day one of this trial, and he is representing this person who has been accused of taking a part, having a part in this plot to kill this former NBA player. So now that sort of sums up for you this person who is going to be representing Tadarrius Bean. And again, his name is Attorney John Keith Perry. And as I stated before, I do think that he is going to be sort of framing everything around his character to his client, his defendant, to separate him from the other officers in regards to what they did and what he did. Like I said, even if he can't get his client off of all of the charges, I think he is going to be focused on trying to get his client acquitted of the second-degree murder charge and the assault charges. I think those are the ones he's really going to say, we're going to go through this video frame by frame and let me know when you see my client strike, because you're never going to see that. Like, that is how he should be laying this out in front of the jury. You do not see him striking him. You do not see him touching him. Then what are the elements of that crime? Did or did not my client meet those elements? So that is a very straightforward way to present that. And it's going to be tough for the prosecution if Mr. Perry does a really good job of doing it. Like I said, it looks like he's already trying to separate his client out. So we will see how it goes. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on this. This is still just a very traumatic thing, a very tough thing to have to watch and have to talk about. Hopefully we get to the point where there is less of this that we have to talk about. But right now, we're looking at who these attorneys are, who's going to be representing which of the defendants, what they're bringing to the table, how we think they're going to be talking about this. Some of the other things I mentioned too, remember there is the civilian bystander who took photos and videos. So even though we have the Sky Cop and we have the body-worn cameras, we may have other evidence that's going to get presented too. So we'll see how all of this is going to be used by Attorney John Keith Perry in his defense of Tadarrius Bean. All right, so if that brings you up to speed, a little bit more understanding of what is going on with this case. I'm getting a little tired, a little tongue twisted here in the late afternoon. If that gives you more information about this case, then please go ahead and give the video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Peace.